The theater was quiet in a soft, waiting way, like the moment just before rain touches the ground. The lights above the stage glowed gently, not too bright, not too dark. People in the audience leaned back in their seats, some holding cups, some holding phones, many holding quiet expectations. This was just another audition day, one more voice, one more dream. At the judge's table, Simon Cowell sat with his hands folded, his face calm but unreadable. He had seen thousands of singers. Very little surprised him anymore. From the side of the stage, a young Filipino boy stepped forward slowly. He was small for his age, wearing simple clothes that looked carefully cleaned and pressed. His shoes were old but neat. His hair was combed, though a few strands still fell over his forehead. He took a moment to look around, taking in the size of the room, the tall ceiling, the endless rows of seats. His breathing was steady, but inside, his heart was moving fast. This boy had traveled far, not just in miles, but in life. Back home, mornings often began before sunrise. He helped his mother prepare food to sell, and sometimes he sang quietly while working, his voice mixing with the sounds of the street. Music was not something fancy to him. It was something that filled empty spaces. It helped him when days felt long and heavy. Singing was where he felt most like himself. The host smiled and asked him his name and where he was from. His voice was soft when he answered, but clear. He spoke with respect, choosing his words carefully. When asked why he came, he paused, then said he wanted to share his voice with the world. Not to be famous, he said, but to be heard. The audience listened closely. There was no rush in his words. Simon Cowell leaned forward slightly. He asked what song the boy would sing. When the answer came, there was a small shift in the room. Hotel California. A familiar song. A difficult song. A song that many had tried and failed to make their own. Simon raised an eyebrow. He had heard this song countless times. Too many times. The music began softly. The first notes floated through the theater, slow and gentle. The boy closed his eyes for a brief moment, as if stepping into a private place. When he opened them again, he began to sing. His voice did not rush. It did not try to impress. It moved carefully, like someone walking on a long road, paying attention to every step. The tone was warm, with a quiet strength underneath. The words came out clearly, each one shaped with care. There was no strain, no pushing. Just calm control. Something shifted in the room. The audience, who moments ago had been adjusting in their seats, now sat still. The sound seemed to wrap around them, not loud, but deep. It felt personal, as if the boy was singing to each person alone. The song took on a different feeling. Less about mystery and more about memory. Less about darkness and more about longing. Simon Cowell sat back slowly. His expression changed, not suddenly, but little by little. His eyes narrowed slightly, not in doubt, but in focus. He listened closely, as if trying to understand where this voice was coming from. He had not expected this. Not from someone so young. Not from someone standing so quietly on that stage. As the song continued, the boy's confidence grew. His shoulders relaxed. His voice opened more, filling the space without losing its softness. There was a gentle sadness in his tone, the kind that comes from knowing hardship but choosing hope anyway. It was not forced. It was honest. The problem the boy carried was not something he spoke about on stage. It lived inside him. The fear of not being enough. The fear that his simple background would always limit him. The fear that no matter how much heart he put into his singing, the world might still look past him. Standing there, under bright lights, with famous judges watching, those fears whispered loudly. But as he sang, those whispers grew quieter. The song reached its middle, and the boy added something subtle. A small change in phrasing. A pause where there usually wasn't one. It was a gentle twist, not dramatic, but meaningful. He made the song his own, without breaking its soul. It was as if he was telling his own story through someone else's words. The audience felt it. Some leaned forward. Some felt a tightness in their chest they did not expect. A few people blinked more than usual, surprised by the emotion rising so slowly. Simon Cowell did not look away. His hands rested on the table, still. His face, often guarded, softened. He had expected a copy. What he was hearing was interpretation. Respect. Depth. The kind of singing that comes not from training alone, but from living. The final lines approached. The boy took a breath, deeper than before. His voice lifted slightly, then settled, like a bird returning to its nest. The last note hung in the air, gentle and steady, before fading into silence. For a moment, no one moved. The quiet was not awkward. It was full. Then the audience rose, applause growing slowly at first, then stronger. It was not wild screaming. It was deep appreciation. The boy stood still, eyes wide, taking it in. His hands trembled just a little. Simon Cowell picked up his microphone. He paused before speaking, choosing his words. He looked at the boy, really looked at him. "I've heard this song many times," Simon said. "I didn't expect to hear it like that today." His voice was calm, but sincere. "You didn't try to be big. You didn't try to show off. You told a story. That takes courage." The boy nodded, listening carefully. His eyes shone, not with tears, but with something close. Simon continued, "Where you come from, what you've been through, it's all in your voice. And that's not something anyone can teach." The other judges shared their thoughts, praising the boy's control, his emotion, his unique tone. But it was Simon's words that stayed with him the most. Validation. Not just of his talent, but of his journey. When the votes came, they were clear. Yes, yes, yes. The boy had made it through. As he walked off the stage, he felt lighter, though nothing in his life had physically changed yet. He still came from the same place. His family was still far away. The future was still uncertain. But something inside him had shifted. He had been heard. Backstage, the noise faded, replaced by quieter sounds. He sat down for a moment, breathing deeply. He thought of his mother, waking early, working late. He thought of the small radio at home, the songs that played while the world moved on around him. He smiled softly. On stage, Simon Cowell watched him go. He had seen many performers pass through those doors. Some would rise. Some would fade. But every now and then, someone reminded him why music mattered in the first place. Why stories, when told honestly, could still surprise even the most experienced ears. The lights dimmed. The theater prepared for the next act. Life moved forward, as it always does. But for that Filipino boy, and for everyone who listened that day, something quiet and meaningful remained. A reminder that sometimes, the most unexpected voices carry the deepest truths.